Speak the AM edition. I'm Ayanda Ngati. Thanks for staying with us. Now, Finance Minister Tito Mboweni believes government and public sector workers will find each other. This after the announcement of huge cuts to the public sector wage bill in yesterday's budget speech. Government plans to save up to 156 billion rand by slashing the remuneration for national and provincial administrations and other public bodies. But unions say the announcement flies in the face of a multi-year wage agreement signed back in 2018. They're digging in their heels and say they simply cannot afford to sacrifice a salary increase. To talk to us about some of the reactions to the budget, I'm now joined in studio by Reuben, Maleka, who's Assistant Manager at the Public Servants Association. Thanks very much for your time. Welcome to Newsroom Africa.
Good morning, Ayanda.
Undoubtedly a busy day ahead for you as you try, of course, ventilate some of these different issues. The big takeaway yesterday was, in fact, the public sector wage bill, essentially being slashed over 3 years. Where to now for unions is the first question.
Look, first of all, I think the minister was very naughty in the sense that he knows very well that he's throwing public servants unions under the bus. I'm saying this because there is a resolution that was agreed in 2018 that says there must be implementation as of 1 April this year. And he is deliberately saying the public servants must come to the party. And they know very well. 1 minute before, meaning that a day before, they come to the PSA, they come and say they want to review the resolution. So you can see the modus operandi is just actually to pit the public servant against the public, making public servants to be the ones that actually are not willing to come to the party. Here is a question of saying that they knew the past 10 years that government is in trouble because of the acts of maladministration. They knew that there's corruption. They knew that they themselves, whenever there's a problem about a politician, a public servant, they just create a position in a mission abroad because they are afraid to deal with this politician. They are afraid to deal with a person that is alleged to, committed misconduct as a public service. Then they just send you to a holiday called a mission. Now suddenly the minister says they are going to look at rationalizing the missions. Why? It's because we've raised these matters long before.
Yeah.
The question is that why they have not acted before.
I guess we can, walk and chew at the same time, so to speak. So, you're raising the idea of clamping down on corruption and leakages, which is obviously another form of, draining the fiscus, so to speak. But the issues around the public sector wage bill are also nothing new. Many experts had come onto this platform and, spoken almost on a daily basis about the likelihood of this announcement coming through. The minister believes you guys will find each other, though. Are you as confident?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That has been very naughty because if they were serious about it, last year as the PSA, we've raised the issue of reviewing of the resolution, March 2019. And the same ministers, they said, no, PSA, you can't do that. You can't even talk about this. We want to implement this resolution in full. A day before the announcement by the finance minister, they rushed to the PSBC and says that this is our mandate, we want to review. That tells you that they are not serious. And we're starting to doubt if they take public servants very serious. Every time a government, when they have to deal with their own issues, the attack is on the public servants. Why? Give an example. 2 weeks back, there was the issue of saying they want to take public servants' money to pay ESCOM debt.
Right.
So the tune of 250 billion. So consistently, there's been an attack on public servants. And we are saying that it's time that, don't try and please the public and rating agents at the expense of public servants. If they were serious, this issue would have been resolved last year.
And in what way would have the issue been resolved? I mean, what to you would have been a signal of their seriousness, so to speak?
The signal would have been at the time when the PSA raised this matter last year in March. They would have said, yes, of course, we want to debate this issue. This is our problem. But at the time, because they were not even aware that they are in trouble, then they said, no, PSA, you can't even raise the matter in the PSBC. This matter has been resolved. There's the resolution. We knew that the resolution, to our own view, the resolution it was a compromise, a serious compromise, to an extent that it was what we call a very meager increment. Because it's not normal that unions will even agree to a sliding scale approach. And that was just a very serious compromise by union to even agree to that. And they were not even willing to open it. Suddenly they want to say that they can't afford it. That we can't agree.
Right. And since the finance minister spoke yesterday, and of course the reaction that's come through, has there been any communication from Treasury to the unions in an attempt to obviously not only get your sentiment, but start putting plans in place for what I imagine is going to be a protracted negotiation process about how this announcement will be treated?
Look, first of all, hear what he says. He says that there's an issue of overtime in the public service, which is also one of the aspects that they say is chowing public service and is putting the wage bill higher. Then it gives you immediate thinking that it means there's lack of capacity. It means they must hire more people, because if people start to work overtime, that tells you that the capacity that we have is not enough. And going back to your question, to say that did they start talking to us? I'm saying they came a day before, and that shows lack of seriousness.
In the past, we've also seen, I guess, early signs of trying to find alternative ways of curbing what I guess the state believes is a situation where there are too many public servants, in the form of early retirement packages. So ESCOM issuing those, however, to their top line management who occupy, I think it was non-core positions is the term they used. Are you looking at those options differently in the aftermath of yesterday's announcement?
No, that issue is a dead one. We have resolved that matter. In fact, our discussion with the Minister of Public Service Administration was that the public service is not bloated. That attempt of saying they want people 55 and above to apply for packages, it has fallen flat, because only, I think, 1,002 applied. And those that have applied, they were critical positions. And how do you say that when you are? Look how the public is actually going out with protest on a daily basis. It's because of lack of service delivery. Then you are saying, I've got these critical positions, I've got lack of capacity, then you want to go and say you want to retrench. So that issue of saying 30,000 public servants are expected to get off the public service, we have resolved that one. In fact, we have agreed that the public service requires more capacity. If you go to public schools, classrooms are overcrowded, few teachers are there. Today, as we speak, if you call a police, if you call 10-111, the likelihood is that you will not get a response, because police officers are overwhelmed by the responses, they are overwhelmed by the crime rate. If you go to a hospital today, most clinics used to open until 24 hours. Clinics are opening until 4 o'clock. Why? It's because there's no capacity. If you go to majority of the departments like Home Affairs, you can queue for the whole day. Why? It's because Home Affairs does not have capacity. It's not that the Home Affairs can't deal with the issues of giving service. It's the question of saying that they are restrained. They don't have capacity.
Right. Of course, the public sector wage bill is obviously one of many announcements that came from yesterday's budget that affects workers. Another one, which I imagine might be received differently, is the reduction of the personal income tax as well. I get a sense it's not enough to calm whatever anxiety has emerged, but surely there must be things that can be welcomed from Labour, insofar as what Finance Minister Tito Mboweni, spoke yesterday. Take me through how that aspect of his speech is being received.
Look, firstly, let me acknowledge and welcome the fact that he said he will be strengthening the NPA, he will be strengthening the Special Investigating Unit, which is long overdue. Because here the problem is not about the size of the public service. The question is that since they've been talking about corruption, who has ever paid the money that he stole? Nobody. It's because of the capacity of NPA, the capacity of the special. Because if we can, the forfeiture unit in the NPA and PSA, you can start making people that have looted the public coffers, start paying back that money. Then people can be serious and say, look, let's have a social compact. Because we can see this, the fifth government is serious about corruption. They are saying, here we know this person, he has looted from the public coffers, pay back the money, and also go and serve your term. Then all of us, we can be saying that no, the government is serious about corruption, and we welcome the fact that NPA will be strengthened. We hope NPA is going to start acting. We hope the forfeiture unit is going to start taking the assets that were acquired through corruption. So then we welcome that fact that these two components are going to be strengthened, and we welcome the attitude towards tax. Because remember, the poor, the public servants, are the one that carries the burden. 70% of public servants, even if you see this person working as an employee, it's not only working for himself. There's a legacy of,
of dependents that look up to them. Very quickly, there's obviously going to need a need for mobilization type of strategy in an attempt to move forward. Are those plans sort of materializing in any way? Because again, I think it would be naive to not have expected this type of announcement to have come through. So I imagine there had been some anticipation that you'd find yourself in this position. What's the way forward in terms of a mobilization strategy?
Look, as the PSA, we're very clear. The agreement that we have in place, that is due for implementation, we are saying it will be implemented. We are not negotiating that part. It will be implemented, but we are ready at the same time. We are ready to engage government on how they must rescue the economy. And we've got other proposals that we are willing to table, but they should not, in the middle of an agreement, say that they want to withdraw. That we can agree. They must implement, and we will engage even our members, because our members are very understanding, and they are willing to see the government working, because it is our government. We want to see the economy growing. We want to see service delivery, and all those aspects we are willing to engage on to make the economy work.
All right, thanks for giving us your reaction. Reuben Maleka is, of course, the Public Service Association's Assistant Manager, giving us his reaction to yesterday's budget tabled by Finance Minister Tito Mboweni. Thanks once again for coming.